Good afternoon. My name is Mark Tewksbury, and I just want to talk to you a little bit today about culture and how it applies to communication. Every missionary, businessman, somebody going on a foreign vacation, they all have interactions within a cross-cultural situation. Many of them have been disasters, and many of them are hilarious. They make great stories, but we want to be a little bit better with our understanding here. Understanding how to operate in a cross-cultural situation will open up doors and build relationships for you within that situation. Whether it's the spoken word or whether it's nonverbal rules of interaction, those doors will open. Everybody at some point in their life will come into contact with somebody from a different culture. And so this type of understanding applies to everyone. We'll talk about the spoken word, how to use words in a given culture, how to say what you want to say and what words to use. And we'll also talk about some of the rules of culture. Sometimes we get these questions when we go to other countries. Is that really a rule here? Do we really have to do that? And we should know what these rules are and learn to obey them. When it comes to the spoken word, one of the first things about culture is a level of directness. I'm from New York City, and in New York City, we don't have time to waste. We say everything directly, very bluntly. We're directly to the point. We say what we want to. We don't waste time. If you waste time, you get an annoyed New Yorker. But in Kenya, indirect communication is preferred. That is because relationship matters more than time. So giving some stories that build context or understanding to whatever a request is or whatever the information you're trying to relay is, that builds a relationship and an understanding between the person speaking and the person listening. And this is valued in Kenyan culture. So in Kenya, don't be so direct. Look to be indirect. Another aspect of culture is how we express our disagreements when we're communicating with one another. On the Ascend website by Harvard Business Review, they have an excellent piece on how disagreement is expressed in various cultures. And they mentioned that Latins and people from Middle Eastern cultures will often raise their volume and show they're very emotive in how they express their disagreement. To someone who comes from a more neutral or non-emotive culture, it can seem that maybe Latins or Middle Easterns are very angry about what is being said. However, they just simply disagree, and maybe only in a small amount. However, in Asia and Scandinavia, it is common to show disagreement by using silence or non-receptive body language. And this type of non-emotive expression would be completely lost on someone from a Latin culture, as they might think, well, you're not raising your voice, so you must not be disagreeing. However, these spoken words are not the only important aspects of culture. Sometimes nonverbal rules are important as well. Personal space differences vary greatly between cultures. Americans, we don't like to touch too much. The International Institute of Minnesota wrote a great piece on this and how Americans, we're not really overly, we value our personal space. However, we might touch an arm, we might touch an upper back, a shoulder, or something like that. However, in Middle Eastern culture, especially between a man and woman, this type of contact is strictly avoided. And so we got to understand if we're being offensive by touching an arm or a shoulder. Also, greetings come into play. I was in Denmark for 4 months, and there it's all about being short, polite, and to the point. You say hello and you move on. However, in Kenya, greetings are very, very important. The Cultural Atlas, a website put out by an Australian company, describes the Kenyan culture of greeting as being kind of drawn out, but very important if you're wanting to continue communication. You go around a room, if there's 10 people in a room, you go around a room shaking hands and greeting each person. Not only saying hello, but asking them about their day, how their family is doing, how their business is doing, and you don't rush this. It is not straight and to the point. You take your time greeting in Kenya. So as you've seen, just a little bit of research is really important. Doors will open and relationships will be built if we take time to understand how people in a given culture operate and then apply what we've learned. Words matter, how you say things, what words you use, and cultural rules of interaction are very, very important. Got that dream job in Sydney or Madrid, backpack across the Alps, become a missionary in Kenya or Brazil? No matter what it is, you don't need to fear cross-cultural interaction. Happy trails, my friends. Good night.